Hello, wrestling fans, and thank you for joining us again this week as we are reliving the extreme. It is an ECW podcast. Nate Maxon here with you, along with my brother Aaron.
Hello.
And Mr. Chad Austin.
Hey guys, hope your holidays were all good.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Like I said, this week, boy, not a lot of meat on the bone this week, folks, for us to devour. I think the show last week we did was the 6th of July of 1993. This was the 20th, so they must have had a preemption for a Flyers game or something. I don't know.
Well, that's what threw me off. That's what threw me off. Like when you guys texted what the date of the show was, I'm like, did I miss something?
No,
I didn't miss anything.
If I'm not mistaken, and I'm not even sure this is ECW. It could have been another company I work for, but I think that as we record more of these, you're going to find some more holes. And I've heard several stories about why it could have been money. It could have been, like you said, Nate, like the preempting of either another sports game or whatever, or just it was just something else was going on. That whatever, but yeah, I think ECW, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to find there's more holes in their consecutive weeks than I think almost any other company. And plus look at their outlets.
Right, yeah, the Sunshine Network or whatever it was called, and the Sports Channel,
and we're watching it on the WWE Network, so we're getting whoever Paul owed the least amount of money to for the original tapes. So there could have been somebody else involved in all of this, that probably goes, you know what, motherfucker, you're not getting these tapes.
It was the G in the HHG.
Well, I can't wait to see when we get to the Valley Forge stuff, because I can't seem to find anything about it on the network whatsoever. And that to me is when I saw the writing on the wall. There is something going on here that nobody's being told about. And I don't know if have you guys seen any of that stuff?
I don't think so.
Yeah, see, I can't find, I just found a New York show from, I think it was Brooklyn or something like that. The first, I don't know, it wasn't it wasn't the hall show, their big battalion hall show. I never knew that existed. And I saw Hack was on it, and I'm like, why wasn't I there? I have no idea where I was at or why I wasn't there, but yeah, it was crazy to me. But it wasn't even a TV show; it was just taped. But yeah, you're right. I was like going. You said 7/20/93, and I looked back at my last week's notes and I said 7/6/93.
Yeah, that's a week jump.
I thought you fucked up, but yeah. but after looking, I realized no, it is. They just skipped a week,
and they even say last week on last week's show, and it is the stuff we watched last week. So
like I said, I was like, "What the? Did I miss something? Did I have like a fever dream? What the fuck happened?"
Well, you also got to remember a lot of them wraparounds and a lot of them openings and stuff like that. They were already pre-done, so like none of that was going to match up with anything. And all the matches were in just inserts and stuff like that. But yeah, I think Jay Sully was just told to say every time he was on TV last week when he's on TV, because that's what he's so familiar saying. Look, you're not going to fuck that up. You say it every week.
The two things he has to say as many times as he can in the show are last week and Paulie.
Oh,
and
I think he says it like 700 times in this. Paulie.
And the ECW.
Yeah.
The ECW.
The Eastern Championship Wrestling.
I mean, I'm not a football fan, but when I talk to football guys, I always say, like, I watch the NFL. And I put the emphasis on the. Because I make it sound that much bigger. It's the NFL. Not to be confused with any other
NFL ever.
Off topic, but that used to drive me nuts when guys in WCW would say the WCW, the World Championship Wrestling. Like if you say it, if you take it to its conclusion. All right, I guess we can get into this now. we open our show as usual with Jay Sully, Paulie Dangerously, and Todd Gordon. And Todd Gordon has stink face on here. He is angry. He is a mad Todd Gordon.
Hang on, Nate, real quick before we go any further. Just correct me if I've ever said this before. That big, gigantic Oscar-looking thing that Sal Blomo walks out with the feathers on it.
Mm-hmm.
I swear I remember. I don't know why I didn't bring this up. Did I bring this up earlier?
No.
It used to sit in the back, like against the wall, like because they used to use that building to build stage props for plays and shit. So because the building is really huge for a bingo hall, it's really huge, and they used to build props. And wait till you see when they had the palm trees things when you come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they were all backstage. They were all just something that was sitting around backstage. So when I remember Sal coming, I never paid attention to Sal. And when I saw him walking out with a Japanese mask, I was thinking, like, I remember that sitting against the wall. How many months was that there before somebody finally decided to use it?
So
let's put this on the wild man and see what happens.
Let them go wild in some fucking Art Deco junkyard.
That helmet had the longest run in ECW.
Yeah.
It was probably
send him out there and make him look like a fucking New Orleans fucking parade or whatever.
People throwing beads at him.
Yeah, there used to be so much stuff back there. I remember, like, people used to like stumble because there was actually 2 rooms too, so people would go in the other room, the kayfabe, and you go back there and they'd be having like half done stuff. Or something wasn't finished and shit like that, and there was always shit laying around. So I'm gonna say, like, any of them props that you see on TV between then and later on all came from this somebody that didn't pay their bill to even leave their theatrical props there, and then Sal Blomo said, "Hey, let's start using them." And for the kids,
going on the props thing, like a shit just laying around wasn't that like the antithesis of the Al Snow head thing?
I don't know. I think Al may have had that. I do know this. I think Al may have had that gimmick coming in, whatever. But there was a beauty shop, like around literally in the same complex as the arena. You walk out the front door. You make a left, you go down to the corner. There was like a beauty shop down there, like it sold like weaves and all that shit. And I think Paul asked, I want to say it was Doug Gentry, me, and maybe the judge, maybe Jeff, to go gave us like $30 or $50 and told us to go buy as many of them heads, whatever. And I think they only had like 7, or you know what I mean? They didn't have a whole shit ton of them there. And we came back, and that's kind of like I was done, but I was just hanging out there. Like I was going up with friends and hanging out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I didn't even work there. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even sure I even knew about Al Snow and a head gimmick before I went on the big fucking styrofoam head run. But you want to talk about that opening? How tough did Todd sound when he said he was talking about levying fines and handing out suspensions if people don't get like their act in order?
People don't get their act together around here. I'm going to start throwing fines around. He's like going through puberty.
I looked at Jess.
This is fucking bullshit.
He didn't even say bullshit. I looked at Jess and I was like, Jess, if I don't get my act in order, are you going to yell at me like that? Yeah, that was the worst. I'm going to start handing out fines and and suspensions, and you know how the rest should go. It's basically if you guys don't get your shit straight, but you ain't got to say shit, but you ain't got to just sound like what I mean.
You have negative gravitas, Mr.
No, it's like if you don't get your act together. Jesus.
if you guys don't get your ducks in a row.
Yeah, if you guys don't straighten up.
But I do love Paulie's reaction to Terry Funk coming out. Paul,
I
love
like,
Paulie.
Fuck off, whatever, you little mousy Gordon motherfucker. And then fucking Terry shows up and he freaks the fuck out. It was good.
I made a little joke saying that I think that was the first show that Paulie started booking, and he was handling the money. Because that was
Terry wants paid. Yes. I have to go.
Yeah, that was a shoot. Paul was out there just to cut the jabroni generic opening of the show, and Terry realized that he wasn't getting his money, and he decides, well, I'm going to go out there and pay him a visit. And Paul's going, oh shit, he wasn't booked for this fucking, he wasn't booked for this spot. So yeah, I think that may have been a half shoot, honestly. But for some reason, Terry didn't look that great to me, like physically.
No. Yeah,
physically, he looked decent. But am I wrong?
No, I actually have in my notes that it's weird because he looked. When did we watch that Super Summer Sizzler thing? It was only maybe not a month ago, maybe. He looked
that was June, right?
Yeah, so it's about it. Yeah, because it would have been because this is the 20th of July and that show was the 19th of June. So 3 weeks because we missed a week. He looked in better shape during the match with Gilbert than like marginally better shape in the match with Gilbert than he did here.
I'm not even necessarily saying like his shape because I thought he looked great physically. Maybe it was healthy wise. Like his posture just seemed a little odd. Like maybe he just wasn't, maybe he was in the middle of doing something before they told him to go out. You know what I mean? Like the way he just stood there, I was like, he doesn't look like Terry Funk, like he doesn't have that. He wasn't commanding that same presence that he normally did. Like I even wrote, he looked crazy, but I don't mean crazy. And I'm drawing money per wrestling wise way. Like he was literally like, what the fuck am I doing? They literally just said, go to the ring, go out there. And he probably just realized I'm walking out. I got to chase Paulie away, I guess. It was weird. It looked weird to me. Maybe it's just me. I'm off.
It's just, I put on the promo, like the Terry Funk promo was short and sweet, and he just kind of it didn't scream Terry Funk to me. It just looked like a guy. It just looked like a guy that was going out there that had no fucking prep. You know what I mean? Like I how do I like? I know Terry Funk's a professional, and whatever, but I think in this instance, like he went out there and I don't think anybody was saying, hey Terry, here's your bullet points, this is what's going on. He was just like, okay, I'm going out here and doing something.
Yeah. Aaron, you're right. So I guess you look at it the same way I did. If that's what you got out of it, that's pretty much what I got out of it. It was basically like he was standing around doing something else and somebody said you have to go out there. And it wasn't until he opened the curtain up that he realized, all right, I'll make it up as I go along, right?
Yeah, it's chicken salad out of chicken shit is what he's doing.
And he did okay, and Paulie certainly didn't hurt the result, but it was just a little over the top for Christ's sake, I'd take that beating before I looked as fucking gay as Paul looked running away. You know what I mean? Like he rolled around the guardrails like he was Chris Jericho looking for hugs from all the Jerichoholics. Like he was stumbling, you saw him. He was stumbling around, and I'm just thinking like, God damn, Terry just walks out. He didn't come out pointing any fingers, he didn't yell.
No, yeah, he just sauntered out, and Paulie hauled ass and screamed.
I think they sent Terry out there
to wrap it up.
Yeah, they sent him out there on Prime. He had no idea what he was doing.
They probably wanted to cut the segment. They could have wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. The segment could have been running long. And because at this point we are getting uncomfortably close to the split. Yeah. So maybe Paul being out there at ringside and Eddie being in the back, being the director. Maybe he tried to go in a different direction, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but think about it that way. That could have been it because Paulie. I think Paulie overreacted because of the fact that he really didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is
What the
because
fuck
he
is Terry
realized
Funk coming in here for?
well, he's smart enough to know that he doesn't want to allow Terry Funk to come out there without him knowing what he's going to do whatever Terry Funk wants to do. So he decided, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, get out of here, before if he gets a hold of me, I don't know what he's doing because we never went over this, So it's in my best interest. It's better to look stupid and run away, to be the heel than to just let Terry Funk beat you up out there. And there wouldn't be any payoff later on anyway.
Right. So we roll into a promo from Funk talking about his upcoming TV title match tonight with Jimmy Snuka. Nothing really. I just put Funk promo on Snuka. There really wasn't anything that was of note that I had here.
I wrote, didn't this promo air before?
And that's highly possible too.
I think it's been airing since April. I think. I don't know. the only thing I got out of it that I kind of chuckled at, because at this point somebody was coming to my house to do some plumbing work, and they had to sit there while I watched this, is that he's supposed to be handcuffed to Hunter Q. Robbins, and I still think there was another bad breath joke in there because Belomo said that he was going to eat a bunch of garlic.
A bunch of garlic. Yeah, I'm gonna eat a bunch of garlic, and I caught that too.
Yeah, he basically was like, "I'm gonna eat a bunch of garlic and throw it back at you, brother." Is what he did to him.
So I really think that they're still making fun of Hunter's breath. And the next thing that I wrote down, it didn't even take a whole line on my page. I just wrote, "Boy, Hunter is bad."
He really is.
Like he's almost got to go bad. And was this when Paul came out and they were talking together? Like they had that little. Was Paul interviewing him? Like Paul had the microphone, right? And he was talking to
Yes. He was talking. He was talking to Hunter and Candido because Candido has the cast.
Okay, Candido was selling the arm, and I wonder if Paul was kind of like almost auditioning Hunter, like can you keep up with me? Can you follow what I'm saying? You hear, you know what I mean? Because for me to go, boy, he was bad, and it's not like Paul was trying to make him look bad,
right?
Paul was feeding him stuff, feeding him ideas. Think, guy. Come on.
Oh yeah, and you could see it. I mean, even in his facial expressions, the way he was looking at him and everything, he's trying to give him like some high signs and everything. And Hunter's just being Hunter.
Yeah, he was just being, blah. And a guy with a gimmick that he has the cane thing. I believe if you're going to be a heel manager, which is already fucking the kiss of death in the business anyway, especially in this day and age, and you have a gimmick, a cane, seriously. I mean, why come up with a better thing than that,
Well, and not to mention that, but if you are going to use it. And when I say that, I mean Freddie Blassie. Freddie Blassie with Freddie Blassie's cane. He always made sure that when they introduced him to the crowd or what have you, he raised that cane up. Yeah. You knew that was part of his package. That was the cane. The cane was an extension of the man, I guess.
Every time Cornette came out, there was, they always say that on every Seinfeld episode, there's one superhero that's shown every single episode. You know what that was?
Superman.
It was Superman. Mm-hmm. All right. Show me one Jim Cornette promo where you can't see that fucking tennis racket.
Exactly. Flying around. And when he's coming down the aisle.
Shoulder. And then, like you said, Blasty would hold up the thing. But here's fucking Hunter. He's just got the cane for he doesn't have a handicap. He just carrying a cane around. I can go to the orthopedic store down the street of my strip mall and buy a cane. I can also buy that big bionic dusty leg boot too. I mean, I don't think my health insurance will cover it.
You might be able to find Sal's hat too. Maybe it may have made its way there too.
Yeah, they just gotta I mean, that's some stuff that Well, that's why you're not going to see Hunter around much longer. And I hate to say it like that, but that was just the thinning of the herd. That was just the way the business was going anyway.
Mhm.
But if you're going to have a gimmick like that, figure out a way to make sure everybody knows, that
Yes.
it's yours. Who the fuck knows? If I was watching it for the first time, I would think the guy's fucking handicapped. He was in a car accident. But we all know that Jim Cornette has a loaded racket.
Mhm.
Paulie's got a cell phone. It's all presentation, and clearly you can see like both you guys did that as well as me, that you can see where Paulie was testing him out, giving him the audition, and he just realized it's only a matter of time before they started thinking about him managing me too.
Yeah,
It's over.
It's Hunter Q, so I guess we'll say Paulie was giving him the sniff test. But Aaron,
it was Hunter. It was Hunter's cue to get the fuck out of here.
And Hunter didn't even know it.
So now we roll into our 713th match between the Super Destroyers and the Suicide Blondes in the 15-week run of this show so far. This time around, it's for the titles. As we mentioned, Sal
Also
Balomo
for their
is handcuffed
careers.
for the
It's titles versus careers. Don't forget that.
yes. And at one point, I wrote down here, or maybe it was one of the other matches we saw them in, but I thought at one point the Destroyers' masks were supposed to be on the line in this match. Did anybody ever say that?
Was last week, wasn't it?
I don't know. I'm lost. This thing has me lost because
isn't that how the Super D's won the belts, because their masks were on the line?
I don't know. I don't remember.
At any point was Bill Dundee's Camaro on the line? You know what I mean? Or MJF's ring?
Big Mama's hair. Big Mama's hair was on the line in this match.
The Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup. They brought that out there. Like, what haven't they tried to defend that? You can't make it definitive. You guys obviously have to figure out a way. And maybe it's just that they realize their career is coming to an end, so they come up with all these matches that won't affect them. If we lose. As long as we don't have to unmask, okay. As long as we don't have to break up, we'll just keep doing other stipulations and stuff like that. Well, if I lose, maybe I could be Baby Doll's valet for a month.
Doesn't your dad have that old trailer in his yard? We can put that up.
It's a fucking train wreck.
At that point, it was, if we lose, we have to go to the AWA. Good
And
God.
nobody wants to do that.
I'm not even sure it existed.
It didn't. Unless that fat guy had, what was that other, oh God, I don't want to get down the weeds. Remember that guy that tried to restart the AWA?
Oh, the other Gagne guy, the Gagne guy?
Dave Gagne or whatever his name was. God, AWA Superstars or whatever it was called.
Wasn't Nature Boy Paulie somehow mixed up in that too?
Yep.
Probably.
Yeah. I thought so.
Dale. That's what it was. It was Dale Gagne. Sorry, I said Dave. It was Dale.
But it was
Gagne.
actually Gagne or whatever the fuck. He just told everybody that he was a Gagne. My last name's Demira, and I tell everybody that my dad was on Days of Our Lives. And they're like, your dad is Stefano? Yeah, he's one of the most famous soap opera, I guess, heels in the history of the business. And they're like, Demira? Yeah, that's him. Wow, man. People still kayfabe soap operas.
At the beginning
they asked me if I found my brother yet. He's been missing, I don't know, since 2000. I think I heard 8 or 9 or something. I'm pretty sure that the guy, whoever my brother was, is not on the show anymore. If he hasn't been on the show in like 14 years or something.
Been in a coma on an island somewhere.
Is that? Yeah, I don't know.
What it's something I think somebody should do on a soap opera, because like people always they always say like, oh, this character has amnesia, so they don't remember things. I think it would be great on a soap opera for like somebody like fall off a horse, hit their head, and get reverse amnesia and like remember shit they never knew before.
Or see
all
the
of a sudden,
future.
all of a sudden they speak German.
Or all of a sudden they know all the secrets. And they're like, oh, we got to shut this guy up. He knows too much now. He was the retard before he fell off the horse, and now he's fucking super smart.
I'm not a soap opera guy. So I mean, do they do that shit like on soap operas?
Yeah. They're always just like, oh, this chick fell off a horse and she has amnesia now, and she doesn't remember that she was a billionaire or whatever. Yeah. Reverse amnesia would be a great angle.
Well, I think reverse amnesia would be you would see the future.
That'd be a good wrestling. That'd be a good wrestling gimmick too.
Yeah, reverse amnesia. But in this fucking match at the beginning of it, at the beginning of this fucking match, before the bell rings, the Super Ds are standing in the ring, and one of the Super Ds, he doesn't even get on the mic. He just yells out, well, we're going to keep these belts where they belong, and we're going to defend them for the people. That's what he yells, and none of the people even react.
I'm sorry. I'm getting ready to turn this whole entire podcast into a bit about reverse amnesia. Because I'm trying to think about how do you call a match in a locker room with a guy who already knows what you're going to do. You're trying to put together, and you're like, well, I'll throw you. I know.
Yeah.
And then when I go, I got it. How does that work? I mean, you can avoid. And none of this get jumped in the locker room.
None of this is going to matter when you're retired next year anyway.
It's just amazing. It's like it's even lazier than Orange Cassidy.
It's like, I've already seen your 10 bell salute. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Like I think the guy that like the next guy that dies, they look at the whole entire thing and I'm not out there and they're like, well, I need to see Chad Austin Demers not out there. Yeah, I already know, I already seen it. I booked it. that to me is it reeks even lazier than Orange Cassidy. Why even do the spots? Because I know you're going to do them. So I just stand there and go, no, I'm going to go sit down. Go ahead, go through the little routine. But what's the finish?
I already know that.
Going over? Because I already know I'm not going over, so I'll just roll in the ring right when you're supposed to give me the big move kind of thing. Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready to take this to the fucking moon over here. Reverse amnesia. But I will say this about the Super D's and the Blondes match. This was the gimmick where they were going to chain or handcuff Hunter Q to Belomo, right?
Yep.
Well, they at least for this time frame, they at least did the handcuff angle right, where Hunter was decent enough to not want to get handcuffed, you know what I mean, and then forcing him to it. I'm like, okay, they're doing it right. They're at least attempting to make it look like he's doesn't want to be chained to him. And when as soon as they did, Sal grabbed him, kind of thing, and I'm like, all right, maybe this is going somewhere. And then I wrote, now we got Paulie and Eddie Gilbert eating pizza. So obviously you knew where that segment went. Aaron, what do you think?
Well, before Eddie Gilbert and Paul Heyman devoured the pizza, there was an ending to the match, and it was a clusterfuck. And the Super D's lose because Chris Candido comes out with his cast and jumps off the top rope. And the only thing the main note I wrote on this is that the Hollywood Blondes, the Suicide Blondes, have retained the titles. So I'm pretty much sure, Jesus fucking Christ, we're gonna get another goddamn rematch.
That or the Super D's are gone. One of the two.
No, because I remember being there when they lost their masks. I mean, maybe it wasn't taped for TV, but
Mhm.
I remember the unimpressiveness of when they removed their fucking hoods. Because God bless AJ, and I don't know Doug that much, but we were cool every time we hung out.
Mhm.
But they weren't over, like, without the masks.
Right.
And they did the whole deal. I know they did. I mean, like I said, maybe it hasn't aired yet, or they haven't got to it, or whatever happened. But they did a whole deal where they sold it out. It was heartbreaking for them to take the hoods off. And then when they did, it was just like, oh, you work at the fucking Jiffy Lube. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that guy right there cuts my grass.
Yeah, you sacked my shit the other day at the grocery store. I remember you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Hey, had the prices on oranges came down yet? So, yeah,
But that's the only thing. I was just gonna say that's the only thing I took from this match was before I knew the outcome. I just thought, man, I really hope the Blondes lose this because if they're leaving, then this is over. And then they won, so I'm like, fuck, it's gonna be a rematch.
Yeah, well, let's hope you're not right.
This is the goddamn lamb chop of fucking professional wrestling. It's like the feud that'll never end. It just goes on and on, my friends.
Why don't you go get into a shipwreck or something and see if you can get reverse amnesia and tell us what next week looks like? Because believe me,
I'll get on a shipwreck. I'll get on a shipwreck with the other cast from Gilligan's Island.
Who's that?
Last week when I said that cast. Gilligan's Island.
Oh, not the other one?
Not the other one. All right, Skipper, moving on. Paulie and Eddie Gilbert are on South Street in Philly.
The goddamn highlight of the show.
I enjoyed the fuck out of this segment.
Yeah, this
I really
is the goddamn highlight of the show.
Paulie calling everybody Vinny.
I did think that pizza looked halfway decent.
Yeah, it looked decent. Looked pretty good.
I mean, I don't remember having a whole lot of South Street pizzas because I want the South Street. Not a whole lot because by the time the shows were over, it was kind of a big to do, like to get there, everything. It was just like by the time we were done leaving the building, everything was winding down. So it wasn't a whole lot. I think the only times that I went is when I didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way I could leave,
Right.
Because Paulie made everybody stay after the show so they can watch promos. And, he said just in case we wanted to use you for promos. But I'm sitting there with Cactus and all these other Kevin Sullivan, all the other guys, and I'm thinking, there's no fucking way Paulie's going to tell me I'm next. You know what I mean? There's no way. He has me sitting here because he wants me to, to learn. I get it. That's fine. And plus, I haven't got paid yet.
Yeah, not gonna leave yet.
Yeah, so there was a lot of times I didn't get out of there until 3:00 in the morning. But on nights where I didn't work or if Paul didn't use me, if Paul wasn't going to use me, I made it the best to be known that I wasn't seen. I was like, okay, well, the show is 3/4 of the way over. We got Funk and Sabu and maybe one other thing going. He doesn't have anything for me. I'm just gonna, get my guys and go get the fuck out of here, go back to the hotel, or then go to South Street. South Street's great, and I wish I could remember how the pizza was, but that pizza looked so goddamn good up there. I was thinking, like, I wonder if it was as good as I remember it.
And Eddie sold it too. Eddie was like,
yeah. Well, there's a lot to dissect in this.
Well,
Paulie says, Eddie, look around at your kingdom. What do you see? And Eddie says, Paulie, I see our loyal subjects. And Paulie says, oh, no, Eddie, they're your loyal subjects. And he says, we share everything, Paulie. We share everything. You want to ask Missy?
Oh, shit.
And Paulie goes, oh, no, we know. And
no, I didn't catch that. So Paul brought it up.
no, Paulie says, Eddie, look around. What do you see? And Eddie says, I see all of our loyal subjects. And Paulie says, oh no, they're yours. They're your loyal subjects, Eddie. And Eddie goes, we share everything, Paulie. You want to ask Missy?
Oh well.
And Paulie goes, no, I don't want to do that. And then Eddie goes, well, what about Medusa?
Ooh.
And that's where Paulie goes, oh, don't blame me for your past mistakes, Eddie. That's all on you.
This all went on?
Yeah.
Like, seriously?
Yes. Like, I
we're
wrote it down.
And
Like,
we're
I
beating
paused
the
it
show up?
and rewound it a little bit. And this is where I was going to say that, like Nate was talking about last week, that Eddie was a little drunk. Eddie was blatantly fucking drunk when he was doing this shit. Like, Eddie was done. Like he was fucking drunk.
Well,
Like,
my plumber must have been sitting down on the sofa with me, talking over the bill or something during all this, because all I kind of just knew that it was going to be funny, you know, because Paul and well, yeah, we're sitting here beating the show up over the Super D's and 100Q and all, and here's Paulie and Eddie shooting on each other about Missy.
yeah. And Medusa, they're going to town on this shit, man.
And then also, did you notice they bring that one old guy up, and they call him John Gillum?
Oh, that's the best. John Gillum's the greatest. That's the greatest. That to me is like one of the funniest things, like in the business, is like how it ever happened. Is that Eddie Gilbert can just take John Gillum and got him over as a main event guy.
Well, he's at this pizza place. He's at this pizza place this time around.
John Gillum. It's John Gillum. What he said, Eddie Gilbert goes, "What is your name?" My name is John Gillum. And it's funny because you can't understand him say it, but Paulie goes, "Your name is John Gillum." Like, I understood it. Oh no, I have to go back and watch this now, because now it's like this is I said this is the best part of the show. Like, I wrote that as a guess, but now after you told me about the Missy Hyatt stuff, then I guess that was.
Oh
right.
man, you gotta watch it, man. And this might be a like an off the rails note or whatever. I really like watching Eddie and his facial expressions and his cadence and the way he spoke and everything. I really think that Brian Christopher was a bigger fan of Eddie Gilbert than he was of his dad.
Oh, like, no, he was a bigger fan of Eddie in real life than he was of his dad's.
Yeah, like just like watching Eddie Gilbert in this segment, and then watching like a Brian Christopher in like 95, 97. Brian Christopher.
Go back earlier than that. Go back to 91, 92. He was doing Eddie. He was doing Eddie circa 82, 83 in Memphis. Like it was that just I'm the undersized chicken shit heel that just thinks I'm better than everybody else kind of thing. And Eddie, that was Eddie, but that was, you got to think now this is 10 years later. So now Brian just cranked it up.
Yeah.
He was doing it, but yeah, in 95, Brian was still doing the same thing as Eddie, like Eddie knew like his spot. He was never going to be 6, 4, 3, 2, 6, 1, 0, 5, 11. he was never going to be any of that. He was never going to be 230, 220, 210, 200. but he knew how to get his character over, and that's a completely just a lost art in the business.
Oh yeah.
But I agree, because I know firsthand from when I was in Memphis that Brian and Jerry didn't get along. The first, I don't know how many years it was that Brian broke in. I mean, that was evident, you know. And then after, I think everybody in Memphis knew, but not everybody outside of Memphis knew. So once word got out, and then Jerry had to, if I had to guess, he pulled him aside and said, "Look, you know, you're my son. You got to get your act together. You know, I'm going to find you like Todd Gordon's going to do if you guys don't, get your act in order."
Suspensions.
Yeah.
You get your act together, Brian Christopher.
But you know what I mean, how that goes, you know? Because Jerry can't have fucking Brian running around fucking Germantown, Tennessee, causing trouble, you know, under his name, and everybody there knew who he was. And he did. Brian was decent, but it wasn't until Brian became a bigger star than, you know, I guess the wheels fell off, so to speak.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to say like anything about like against like Brian Christopher's lifestyle or whatever. I'm just saying like the way he performed. It's like when I watched this, I'm like, man, when I watched Eddie Gilbert doing this, and then I watched like like Grandmaster Sexy Brian Christopher, I see a lot more Eddie Gilbert and Brian Christopher than I do Jerry Lawler.
Of course. I stole the Eddie Gilbert punch bump. You know the spot that like when the baby face is making the comeback and they're feeding her. If there's not even anybody but Eddie, and the spot where he's supposed to bump, and he does that deal where he kind of hops and takes that bump. Like, I stole that bump. I was like, that's a big fucking bump. Like, you're selling that punch. You know, that one, you're getting pop, 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 pop. And then the guy gives you the one big blast, and you take that big little jump kind of spot. Yeah. Like, one of my favorite TV matches, and I say that with a pretense, TV matches, is Eddie versus Coco in Mid-South or UWF. I love that match. Because they worked Memphis. They had, I guess, maybe 4 minutes to work a Memphis TV match in front of a humongous audience, you know? And it worked out. And Coco about knocked his fucking head off with a drop kick. But I don't know whose head he didn't knock off with that drop kick, honestly.
That guy's and getting out. We've got whatever. Coco's terribly underrated. Birdman or not, whatever gimmick or not, I was always a fan of Coco. Man, like
did I tell you what piece of memorabilia I had of Coco's?
No.
Well, I don't have it anymore, and the reason why I don't, and I can't hate on it, is because my grandma was my mom. My grandma raised me. She ended up with dementia, and she ended up like she was cleaning out the garage and she found some stuff. You guys are going to beat me up over this, and I lose sleep over it still. I had Coco Beware's boots, the boots that he wore in the match against Ric Flair at the Mid-South Coliseum, the only time he wrestled Flair.
Damn.
I owned them boots, and they were so raggedy because it was like 1983 or something, you know, or 82 or something. And they were a medium. And at one point, my mom threw away my other wrestling boots, my boots. She threw them away. So I had to use his boots one night. I got to find what match it was, if I have it on tape or not, so I can just prove to everybody, they're Coco Beware's boots against Ric Flair. And he wore a medium, he had like a size 7 foot, and I wore a size 10. I still squeeze my ass into them fucking boots, but I hate telling that story because that's a piece of history that, you know,
right.
You know, that Coco would probably want to know what happened to them boots. You know, Flair wouldn't give a fuck what happened to him, but I'm sure if I told Coco, look, I have your boots, because they had the little, I don't know what his gimmick was on the side of it, whatever his emblem was, whatever. But they were the white patent leather boots with the big thick laces, and I just needed them one day. I couldn't find my boots, and my mom oh, they're them big ugly things. And I was like, oh, Jizo is. And then when I started looking for the Cocoa boots when I was moving out, and I couldn't find them. I went, oh no. But how can you beat up your mom when she's going through dementia?
The Cocoa Boots story. I have so many possible names for this episode. All right. So Aaron,
Ivan Koloff still appears.
Aaron, do you have anything else on the Gilbert segment?
No, I just thought it was really good, and they're Paulie kind of cracked me up a little bit more than just the even off the Missy Hyatt Medusa thing. Fucking Jay Sully shows up and he's half in the bag too, and he makes a joke about how the pizza looks like Jay Sully's face. He's like, take a close up of the pizza. It looks like Jay Sully without the makeup.
Yeah, before makeup.
And Jay Sully goes, that's really funny, Paulie. And then Paulie goes, I know it is, Jay.
And doesn't Jay say, yeah, Paulie, I'm Italian.
Yeah. Well,
he's supposed to have a quote unquote pizza face because he's Italian. I don't know.
But yeah, this fucking Eddie Gilbert and Paulie getting pizza. That's the highlight of the fucking show.
Well, if you want to, we can continue talking about that segment before we get into the goddamn next one, because I got no notes on this. I'm pretty sure I was signing an invoice to get my kitchen sink fixed at this point. Good God.
So up next on this show, we got a Rockin' Rebel promo along with his new ally, Mr. Tony Stetson, and they're talking about Rebel blinding Peaches. So, yeah, that's there.
Well, where was that at? Was that in the back?
Yeah, it was. I don't remember. I don't think Stevie Wonderful had the interview. I don't know who did the interview.
No, Paulie interviewed.
Paulie? Was it Paulie?
Paulie interviewed him, and Rockin' Rebel came out and was doing oh, I'm blind, and then turned serious on it. It was a shitty promo.
I don't have a single note. I have Rebel versus Winners. I don't have a single note about about no promo. So literally, I probably was signing some invoices for the plumber. we couldn't. I probably saw the match was coming up next, and I probably said, "Can you hurry up?"
Can't wait to watch this.
In the match, it's a ECW heavyweight title contenders match, and Rebel is listed as number 5, and Winters is listed as number 9. But then the Rebel
who's 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8.
I have no fucking idea. But
neither do they.
When he's introduced, Rebel is introduced as the number 6 contender. So that led me to believe that this ECW contendership listing is complete bullshit.
Are you claiming this is fraudulent?
Yes, it's complete bullshit.
They're not going with their own stories.
Yes, I think it's fabricated, and it's like
terrible. It's like a list in the After Mag.
I can't believe they even attempted to even try to pretend like that existed. I mean, no, honestly, I'm shocked, because at this point, I'm going to be honest. This show got to me like when Jim Cornette watched the girls' match. Everything just like I couldn't find. I went out and fed the birds, like literally. And I think I already checked the mail, and I'm sure I already got the mail, but I re-went back out and did it again, just to make sure I didn't miss anything, or the guy may have came again, kind of thing. Because I'm thinking like, I can't, this could have been, I don't know who I texted when I said, can't we just pretend like July and August didn't happen? Because if it's going to be winners every week with Rebel, you're not going to get a whole lot of criticism out of me.
the less said about this match, the best. But the worst part is Winters goes over, and he's not even the guy you're trying to push. And it's not like Rebel lost because Sandman interfered. Sandman never even showed up the whole hour.
Yeah, wasn't it just like a screwy kind of finish?
Yeah, Stetson accidentally hit him, and he was trying to hit Winters or whatever. It was terrible.
Yeah, it's honestly, this is not a knock on Paul or Eddie or anybody else. If you don't have fucking something good to put on TV, then just don't put it on TV. I would do a whole show of videos because they already stole music anyway.
Yeah.
So why not just steal music and put together a highlight package of stuff to come, like Ivan Koloff? Just keep on Ivan Koloff.
I'm just saying, like, this ECW contention thing is like when I found out Santa wasn't real. It's like I've been lied to my entire life.
But John Cena's not real?
No, he said Santa.
Oh.
It's like when somebody told me Santa wasn't real or the Tooth Fairy wasn't real. I'm like, really? The ECW Heavyweight Championship contention isn't real? Jesus Christ.
Well, if you already knew it wasn't real, they were trying to pretend like there was 10 people in contention for any belt at any time. They barely have 15 people on the roster. And they got to have at least 5 teams. So a couple of them teams have to be in contention for other belts. And don't forget, they got the prestigious Pennsylvania state title.
Yeah, the state 10 title.
Yeah, so you can't forget about that.
Now, speaking of champions, up next, it's Terry Funk challenging Jimmy Snuka for the ECW TV title.
Here we go. My question to you, sorry for taking over.
No, go ahead.
Was this the highlight of the show, or was it still Paulie and Eddie eating pizza?
I think it was Paulie and Eddie eating pizza. That was the most enjoyment I got.
It was pizza.
This was the best match Snuka's had since we started watching him in this promotion. That I'm not saying that means it was by any means a great match. It was the best match Snuka has. I was like, it was funny because I was like, oh, Snuka's wrestling Funk. I wrote down here, I'm expecting Snuka to have his work boots on tonight. And then I noticed he doesn't have any boots on at all because he can't make up his mind whether he wants to wear boots in this promotion or not.
Well, the other thing is Freddie Gilbert.
Yeah, he's the referee who already
the referee. And they've mentioned a couple times that Freddie Gilbert is a fucking retard that is crazy and got everybody the match. But then there's been multiple matches where Freddie Gilbert's still the referee.
Yeah, it's like you started the story, but I mean, since you only have 3 referees, you're just going to let the bastard keep refereeing matches.
No, hang on. I'm sorry. You had my wheels spinning because I wasn't sure exactly what you were talking about. So you mean they've already announced the fact that Freddie Gilbert is basically a heel ref?
Yes. And
they did the promo last week where he was like standing behind Eddie, and he was standing up there, and Eddie was like, this is my brother from a special school, and we took him back and everything, but Freddie's still refereeing. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
That's some shit that like that Bubba Ray talks about on Busted Open all the time about is tightening the screws. If you have all that shit in the can, you have weeks to prepare for that shit.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you, in post-production, make a comment, even if it's Jay fucking Sully, say, why is Kevin Lawler, Kevin Christensen, whatever his name is, or Gilbert, whatever his name was, why is he refereeing,
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't you do that in post-production? But you're saying they started the angle last week and didn't follow through with it at all.
No, not at all. Like Freddie was part of the screw job on Funk at the Summer Sizzler thing we watched 3 weeks ago, and now he's refereeing Funk's title match against Jimmy Snuka. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, but for all we know, this could have been taped at Cabrini College. They could have been still having matches long after the people left and everybody moved out. College could have been off for the season. It could have been the end of the thing. Yeah, these matches. Yeah, it's just little things like that. But that's 1993. So look at the landscape of wrestling in '93. Anyway, there wasn't a whole lot. Well, there wasn't. What was better? Memphis was probably the best thing around in '93. Cornette,
probably.
Smoky Mountain, and Memphis.
Smoky Mountain was the best in '93, in my opinion.
Yeah, because you're not going to get shit out of WWE and Turner, WCW. There wasn't anything going on there. So I mean, this is a great alternative, but my God, that pizza looked pretty good though.
They just got to get their shit together, as Todd Gordon would say, and they'll be aces. Snuka actually does work a little in this match instead of just dogging it like he has been. Things fall apart. Shit hits the fan. Funk winds up giving the referees double noggin knockers. The Canadian Wolfman makes an appearance during this match.
Yeah, he's going to break it up.
Yeah, Canadian Wolfman. That's who we need to break up these two legends. And then I just write a slew of names of people coming out. The thing that I was like, what the hell's going on is why are the Koloffs all of a sudden baby faces?
I just wrote Ivan Koloff.
Not that it matters, but in the grand scheme of things, but all of a sudden now they're attacking the Dangerous Alliance. And
once I saw the Canadian Wolfman, and then I was like, wait a minute, I missed the spot where Snuka did the deal. I missed that. Then I saw where it broke down. Because to me, Funk worked down to Snuka.
Oh yeah,
like Snuka, because Snuka wasn't going to work up to Terry, so they weren't going to do anything, amazing. They weren't going to set any fucking standards. Like Meltzer wasn't going to go bananas over this. So Funk worked down. Funk worked down.
Shit ain't in the Tokyo Dome.
Oh, yeah, and so when they led into the brawl, I just started seeing all the job guys run out. And then I was like, oh, there's Dudley. And then all of a sudden I see Ivan Koloff on the floor. I wrote, Ivan Koloff is the only name I wrote down. I was thinking like, wow, they'll pop for that. Because Ivan Koloff ran out to try to break up that big brawl.
And like I said, he sided with the faces. Go ahead, Aaron.
The Koloffs come out. It's Ivan Koloff and Vladimir CK. Rockin' Rebel comes out. Glenn Osborne, for some fucking reason, he comes out. It's just fucking insane.
Now the only person
I'd rather have the female ref in the WWE. That redheaded guy that tries to break up stuff sometimes. Just send them out there.
The one that makes the most
Renee
sense.
Goulet would have been better at this.
Renee Goulet would have got a fucking Bobby Eaton pop. like if he would have came to that curtain and he would have been there the whole entire night just wearing his Sergeant Goulet trunks with the glove on.
With the glove.
Just waiting for a reason to run to the ring. Like, he would have got the biggest pop of the night.
Hitting everybody with the scorpion. It would have been great.
Dude, wait till we get to that show, man. That Bobby Eaton show. You would have thought it was at Madison Square Garden, and just when you thought that you were at Madison Square Garden, Arn came out, or unless it was vice versa. Mm-hmm. Whatever it was, whoever came out first, you went banana, but then whoever came out second, because they already thought they got their fucking payday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I think whoever it was, Bobby or Arn, and then when they were like, we ain't done. We still got the other one left. And when they came out, like the people were like jumping up and down. Guys that owed each other money were jumping up and down. Like, oh my God, Bobby Eaton and Arn Anderson in ECW Arena. Yeah, wait till we get there, but that's a whole fucking different era. Where
we got a couple years to get there, buddy.
The only one that made sense coming out getting in this thing was Cairo, just because he gets involved in everybody's business in ECW. But
isn't he the Pennsylvania champion?
Yes, he is. He has the right to be there.
He's the Sting of ECW.
Well, who bumped Gordon? I didn't see that.
It was Belomo.
Oh, God.
It was like Belomo wildly ran at
Said,
Gordon.
oh, come on.
It was
You're gonna make me go back and watch this, just so I don't have to call you a liar.
yes,
If I
I
message
am.
you and say you're a goddamn liar, that wasn't Belomo. It really was Belomo.
Yes, it was. It was. I think it was. I mean, I think it was set up to be unintentional, obviously. But yeah, Belomo came hauling ass at him and knocked him down.
But isn't Belomo one of the ones that's like trying to get the medics to take care of him?
I
Gordon
guess
was
so.
all
He
I did
felt.
was
I
see-
guess he felt remorse. I don't know.
So he's just like, oops, me, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just
I'm
trying to
sorry.
protect the kids.
the last thing I remember was me and my plumber were sitting at my bar having a beer, and I look up at the TV and I see Todd Gordon on the ground. So I was like, oh my God, there was the big brawl with Ivan Koloff involved. And then I was like, Todd Gordon got bumped. And I'm thinking like, well, who can I catch a quick shot of, like in the overall scheme of things, that could have bumped Todd Gordon?
He didn't expect
And
Belomo.
not one person that I thought of was Salvatore Belomo. So if you're telling me that Sal Belomo was the guy that bumped Todd Gordon, and that was like pretty much the last thing I'm going like, well, this is interesting. Could it have been Terry? Could it have been one of Paulie's guys? You know,
It's always the one. It's always the one you least expect.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know, if I'm not mistaken, what didn't Sal work for Todd, like at the jewelry store or something?
I've heard that before. I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't know. I don't even remember where I ever read it or heard it, but I do because I remember at one point thinking, why was he getting such a big push in this company? And yeah, I think he had some kind of a tie to Todd and his businesses.
Well, how do you think
He built boats for him.
Yeah, he
How
was
do you
sitting
think
there
he
back
has
there
Todd
making
for
paper boats.
I'm sorry, say that again, Aaron.
I said Sal was just in the back of the fucking
Jewelry
gold and silver jewelry store making paper boats.
Who do you think went to who first about asking for the weekend off? Did Todd go to Sal and be like, "Hey, can you watch the store? Why? You know, we got a big show this weekend. Oh, why not me? I don't want no show. You know, and
I gotta be on. I love the kids.
Yeah, what about the kids? And so Todd, I bet you Todd closed up at 7:00 on Saturday nights, just so poor Belomo can get a payday. Wow, dude, now that just blows my mind knowing that you said that was Belomo doing that. Because I'm just trying to think, like, you know, literally look at it from, you know, where I'm looking at it from. Wow, you know, the owner is getting bumped. You know, you don't bump, you don't bump the figurehead, you know, for Sal Belomo. Like,
that'd have been like,
it would have been worse if Larry Winters would have bumped him.
Somebody took out Jim Hurd. Who was it? Norman the Lunatic.
Yeah. Well, no, that probably would have been, because I knew Norman the Lunatic. I got into a fight with him. He's a fucking idiot. He's dead, right?
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
All right, well, fuck him.
Yeah, he ain't gonna complain.
Me and him got into an argument at a hotel over something, and I called him a fucking jabroni. I called him a jabroni, and he was like, "Who are you?" I said, "Well, I'm a jabroni." So I think I have every single right to tell you where you stand in this business.
Was this when he was wrestling as Friar Ferguson or Bastion Booger?
Oh, it was after all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, it was after all of them. We were at a convention together, and I was fucking hammer timed, and I was fucking demolished. And we were waiting for a cab or a bus or something to go back to the hotel, and we just started talking, and I just started laughing at him about the Friar Ferguson, and I was like, I would never do that. And he was like, oh, all the money he made. And I'm like, all the money you made? Look at you.
You're at the same bus stop I'm at.
Yeah. We're waiting for the same fucking shuttle bus to go back to the hotel, you know?
Yeah.
So we got into a big gigantic argument, and then he after I called him a jabroni, and then he said, "Well, who are you?" And I said, "I'm a jabroni." He kind of like his friends kind of walked away with him, and he was like trying to give me the whole, "Yeah, look at this guy. He thinks he's in the business because he's a jabroni." Damn right I am.
before that, I was going to say my favorite Mike Shaw story I've ever heard was Bruce Pritchard talked about him, because your story topped what Bruce Pritchard said. Was Bruce Pritchard said Mike Shaw was in the WWF and looked at Pat Patterson and said, "Hey, what do I need to do to get a bigger spot here?" And Pat Patterson was like, "I don't know. Go talk to Vince." And he goes and talks to Vince, and then Bruce said Pat saw Mike Shaw like 5 hours later, and was like, "Hey, how'd your conversation with Vince go?" And he goes, "He gave me my release."
So he's the exception. Because, I mean, have you ever heard of the story of the Jedi mind Vince?
Yeah. You go into his office pissed off, and you walk out thinking that the gobbledygooker's the greatest gimmick in the world.
So you're trying to tell me that Norman the Lunatic walked into Vince McMahon's office asking for a bigger spot after he'd already been Friar Ferguson. Who was the other one?
Bastion Booger.
Bastion Booger. After he's been all them people, and he's gonna hold his ground.
According to Bruce,
line in the sand, McMahon.
Podcast was
line in the sand, McMahon.
Mike Shaw went in there and said, "Vince, what do I need to do to get a bigger push in here?" And Vince was basically, "I got nothing for you, man. You're released."
I bet you the biggest push was, he said, "You know what you got to do, Mike? Turn around, open that door." And when he opened the door, Vince came up behind him and just kicked him in the fucking ass. That's the biggest push they're going to get here. That's amazing.
Vince wasn't in the fucking mood that night, was he? Muckam Singh gonna come in here and tell me how to run the WWF.
Muckam Sing your goddamn ass out the door.
That's amazing to me, because he's the only person that's fucking just as mind-boggling as that Sal Balomo was the guy that fucking bumped that he's the only guy that the walking in the Jedi mind Vince didn't work on. Like he must have wanted to go.
Him and Nails.
Well, Nails for other reasons, but yeah, if I don't know, maybe it sounds like to me that maybe Mike wanted to go home.
Yeah,
I don't know his family situation, and honestly, I didn't have a problem with him then. I was just fucking with him.
Mm-hmm.
We were at the bar drinking. And he just couldn't. I guess he just couldn't deal with, or he didn't want to deal with, some drunken fucking job guy trying to categorize him in the same frame as him. So,
don't you wish you knew at that time where you could have been like, at least I'm not the only guy that ever walked out of Vince's
Yeah, what the fuck?
Vince's office with my walking papers.
I would have more respect for him if he would have stood, said, "I stood my ground to Vince," like, but you got fired. But I stood my ground. I was like, you know what? That's pretty badass, honestly. Because look at everybody else. Look at Prince Albert. Fuck. I mean, I don't even name anyone. You know what I mean? Even Bubba.
I thought your stupid hump was the biggest thing on you, but it's your balls, buddy.
Yeah. I hear stories, about people that I don't talk to regularly, but I still talk to, and they've had them moments, them humbling moments, because Vince is that guy. Vince is that humbling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just glad I never had to do it. Because I wouldn't have known what I would do.
Of all the pay-per-views, all the Raws, all the house shows, all the everything that I've ever been to, that is a guy I've never seen live in person.
Who, Bastion Booger?
No, Vince McMahon. Of all the shows I've gone to over time,
it sounds like you're sad.
I never
Like, I
got
really
to see,
wish I would have
I
spent
wish-
my $75 and saw Bastion Booger.
I was getting ready to message Aaron privately and me being like, "Are you sure you want to do a show with this guy?" Like, all his life, all he wanted to do was see Bastion Booger. Like,
Friar Ferguson and
you want to put all your
Mom
eggs in this
Sing.
guy's basket?
and Norman the Lunatic.
All right, so Vince is the one guy you've never seen.
But yeah, I mean, I just it's. I was thinking about it, and it's amazing to me that all the shows that I've gone to, even during the time when he was doing Mr. McMahon, if I went to a Raw or something, it just happened to be a week that Mr. McMahon wasn't on, or whatever. You know, I've never seen Vince McMahon live in person.
I don't know. I'm having a problem with this fucking. I gotta agree. I don't think I have a Vince story. No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had been to shows. Like, one of the most infamous photos is when Austin gets arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Raw where Vince gets him arrested. Well, the guy that owns the school in Baltimore is the main cop in the shot. And every single time, every single year, it pops up as a memory. And he's like, "Remember that time when I arrested Stone Cold?" And he always posts that shit. And I remember,
that's awesome. I love that.
yeah,
I
because
love that.
you know, like Steve
I
was
have
hot.
nothing else going on in my life.
But I am the guy that arrested Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well,
I worked for Vince McMahon for 27 minutes.
So what are you going to tell me? You wouldn't do it?
Oh, I'd do it.
Well, of course you would do it.
Like a rat on a Cheeto.
And he wasn't even there. He wasn't even there to work. Like, I can't remember what year it was. Maybe it was it like maybe 98, 99?
Yeah, it would have been 98.
So he was probably there because him being the owner of Maryland Wrestling and the quote unquote head trainer there,
Mm-hmm.
he was probably getting talent for TV.
And you said that was Maryland, right?
Yeah, it was Dan McDevitt was the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say because I think it was one of those few Raws right after WrestleMania 14, and they were in the Boston, Maryland, Baltimore area for a few weeks after WrestleMania 14.
Why? That meant that long?
Yeah, because I remember WrestleMania was in Boston that year, and then
that's when they were doing the. That's when they were doing the. You tape a live.
Yeah,
I got you.
Produce a live show, tape a show, produce a live show, tape a live show.
Mm-hmm.
Was that when they were doing like the next town was SmackDown? Like there was another town running SmackDown, or they would do a Raw and a SmackDown.
They hadn't even got to SmackDown at that point yet. I don't think SmackDown came around till 99, maybe.
I just love watching all them old shows when they would come to Baltimore and see all the guys that came to our wrestling school, like on there, and just see them as security guys in the back. Like my cousin got the opportunity to work AJ Styles, I think twice, like on TV. And then he also got I'm also friends with Ellsworth. I don't know if that holds any water or anything.
James Ellsworth?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was entertaining, man.
Do you know how he got his job?
No.
And I know James good enough that I can say it and he wouldn't get pissed off at me. Vince thought he was funny looking.
Because he has like no chin or whatever.
Yeah, he was hanging out backstage. I mean, I'm sure that James will tell you a different version of the story, and I don't see why he wouldn't or he shouldn't. But he was backstage, and they were looking for extras, and I don't forget who the agents were, and maybe it was Arn. Maybe I don't know. Somebody walked up to him. He was hanging out with somebody who was doing extra work, and Vince happened to walk by and just say, "Hey, look at that guy. He's funny looking." And they gave him a spot, and and look what it did. It changed that guy's life, man.
Yeah.
Like, I went on social media and watched everybody just killing him. And I just said, what about Gilbert? You know what Gilbert was? Gilbert was a guy who worked for Vince in the fucking early 90s as a TV job guy.
Yeah, and Dwayne Gill was, well, I shouldn't say was because he's still with us, but Dwayne Gill's a fucking talent. And
come on, don't give Dwayne that much fucking credit. Seriously, I'm friends with Dwayne. Even he would tell you
he's a bumping machine, man. He's a bumping machine. And I watched the guy live in Fort Wayne a couple of years back, and he was super entertaining. I like Dwayne Gill.
Oh, I love Dwayne. Dwayne's a great guy, and he's another guy that knew his role. He knew what he was there for. You know, have you seen his cameos or heard his cameos?
Yes, they're amazing.
I'm about to unveil on Cameo the new Chad Austin cameos because I'm eligible to sign up for independent pro wrestler and reality TV star because of my Jerry Springer. So
that's awesome.
I just haven't figured out what I'm going to charge yet, but it's going to be some ridiculously cheap amount. And I'll just say, why don't you just give me your phone number? And, I'll just call you and talk to you. People call me all the time that are in my Facebook group that I don't even know who they are. They call me and go, hey, man, I was looking at your page. Would you happen to have this show or whatever? I go, I don't know. Let me go home. I'm not home right now. and like, who are you?
I'm at the drive-thru. I'm getting some Burger King. What do you want?
But is it time to go over the overall rating of this fucking disaster?
Yes, let's do that. And I say I rate this show. Paulie and Eddie were really good in their segment. Other than that, I could live without it.
Do you think that segment kept the show afloat if it was on the Titanic?
Yes, it was in the middle, kept things buoyant. Yes, it was. It balanced things out. I mean, the Terry Funk Jimmy Snuka match wasn't terrible. It just wasn't anything, like if you're talking about two legends of wrestling that you would expect to see. And then the ending was a clusterfuck. The tag team title thing was a waste of my time. And Hunter Q. So yeah, like I said, I mean, the only thing that really, really was good to me was the Eddie Paulie deal.
I think maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm a blind homer here, but the Snuka Funk match, I think would have looked a whole lot better if it was dark.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Mm-hmm. Like, don't you think if you couldn't look around and see how bored everybody else was, that you wouldn't be like, yeah, this does kind of suck. The
Snuka the Snuka Funk match would have been great in the Thunderdome. With the piped in audience and
fuck yeah. That match would have been over. That match would have been over like fucking -1 against Marco Stunt's going to be. Like, no, but you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
If that match would have been in an arena that just had one light above the ring with, like, clearly you couldn't hear the commentary, in the building. And it was just these two guys going out there. You could look at it like it's an old traditional house show match,
Right.
And you could probably get into it a little more, but no, you could stand around and look at everybody else holding the signs up, and you see people talking to their friends,
walking around. Yeah.
They're just not paying attention. So you're like, what?
Why do I care?
It was probably 2:30 in the afternoon. Yeah. So if I had to give it a guess, I mean a rating. Have you won yet, Aaron? Because I think I go. Or did you even give it a rating?
I'll give it a rating. I gave this match a half a star.
No, not the match. The show.
Oh, the show?
You gave the match a half a star? You gave Snuka and Funk a half a star?
It was boring.
Well, who got the other half? Did Ivan Koloff reference on the floor? Ladder Cola.
The show itself is a star. 1 star.
All right, Nate, you would you give it?
That was about what I gave it to. Was just a star.
I thought we were
It's
normally going with the ABC scale, but ABC scale, I'm pretty sure I've consistently given it a C minus, D plus. This probably would have been a D or D. No, I wouldn't say it's a D minus, but it would have been a solid D. And star wise, maybe if they did something good, they would have gotten a star.
I'll give it a.
Has Meltzer
Sorry.
ever given out 0 stars? Like it's either a star or it's a 0 star, right?
Yeah.
So I'm giving it 0 stars.
No stars
Not
at
negative,
all.
not nothing.
No star for you.
Right, if we're gonna give it,
come back,
we're gonna give
you
it.
come back
If we're gonna,
1 year.
if we're gonna give this show a letter grade, I'd say it gave me a without permission.
What was that, Aaron? I'm sorry, you froze up.
I said if I was gonna give this show a letter grade, I'd say it gave me a solid D without asking permission.
Yeah,
Oof.
there you go, man. At least we're kind of on the same page. None of us are trying to twist the other guy's arm by going, boy, how could you think the Sal Luna promo? Or yeah, we all like
look at that winners
pretty much
match.
like
It was
seeing it.
fantastic. Jesus Christ, this show sucked.
Well, sucked is pretty bad. Because I mean, a lot of these shows have sucked, but it's better to have the shows than to not have the shows, in my opinion. So to say they sucked, let's stick with they were doozies. Because doozies is much more conducive to pro wrestling than saying it sucked. Because then now I'm looking at AEW, NXT. Oh, this one sucked. This one sucked. I don't like to say they sucked.
Now doing the reverse amnesia here.
Oh, here we go.
Talking about next week. Here we go. The preview for next week's show on the WWE Network, July 27th, 1993. After invading Commissioner Todd Gordon's press conference, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert demands respect and the so-called King of Philadelphia as the so-called King of Philadelphia and takes over this edition of Eastern Championship Wrestling. Plus, Terry Funk in action, and the Sandman goes one-on-one with Sir Jonathan Hotbody. So there you go. There's a little preview of next week. Apparently we're going to sounds like it's going to be an Eddie Gilbert heavy show if he's quote-unquote taken over the show. So,
well, that reeks to me of well, I don't know. You tell me what that reeks to you of. Either one of you guys, you tell me. If you can't smell that a mile away, what they're building to for next week's show, tell me. What do you think?
Well, I think that if you're having, I guess, okay, I'm trying to figure out your angle. But if you're having Eddie, quote unquote, take over the show, and it's probably going to be an Eddie heavy show, it's probably also going to be a highlight heavy show.
And largely post produced.
Yes.
You're gonna see. Is this when we start to see? Have you watched it yet? Previewed it yet, Nate?
No.
I mean, is this when we start to see Eddie in the studio? Kind of that thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, let me see here. Just looking at
that sounds like we're starting to build in that direction. Where if he started to take over the show, that means they've already ran through as much bullshit as they can throw out there. And even Eddie's getting sick of seeing Hotbody. And, and he even looks at the lineup and goes, the Super Destroyers? Again?
How about we just do 20 minutes of me?
And that's Eddie. That
and honestly,
Eddie.
Go ahead.
And if it goes, if the description says Terry Funk in action, and I don't want to talk about terrible things or whatever, but if it says Terry Funk in action, I don't think he's fighting Hervé. I think he's probably fighting Rock and Rebel.
No, it's got to be Hervé. Hervé's the only in action you get. That's unbelievable. So next week, announce it. Go ahead, Nate. Announce it.
Next week on ECW, Paulie. It's Paulie.
We're gonna have Terry Funk against Hervey.
Terry
on the ECW.
The ECW.
Well, there you go for your tease for next week when you post it online. You're like, next week's show is going to be Terry Funk versus Hervey Ernesto.
Funk versus Ernesto.
We'll see if we're right, because if they're going to say Terry Funk in action, it's got to be Hervey Ernesto. I mean, all right. The worst case scenario would be Donnie Allen, but my guess is it's going to be Ernesto Beneficio, who also moonlights as Hervey Ernesto.
Well, that being said, for this week's show, Chad, anything you want to say to the listeners as we sign off?
I hope you guys enjoyed it so far, because it's been a great journey, not visually, but it's been audio stimulating, and I'm sure you're going to plug all your things. So just follow me on the old Twitter. It's Chad Austin Demera. Follow me on Facebook, the same. Check out Chad's Video Vault for all your latest or really old school wrestling tapes. And other than that, for upcoming appearances, don't look for them, because I ain't going anywhere but downstairs to get a beer.
Aaron, any sound off?
I just say, I hope you guys out there listening had a good New Year's and a good Christmas, and follow us at the Reliving the Extreme podcast Facebook page, and the We Can't Wrestle Facebook page, and I have a lesser known Facebook page that's Trading Chops. It's fun over there, and just be kind to each other and have a good fucking 2021, because 2020 fucking sucked, and just that's all I got.
All right, everybody. Again, thank you for joining us. And as Aaron said, don't forget to, if you have not yet, check out the We Can't Wrestle podcast, the We Can't Wrestle podcast Facebook page. And I would be remiss, and possibly in divorce court, if I didn't mention to also check out my wife and my podcast, the Motley Soup podcast. It's not a wrestling show, but it is fun. Just a slice of life podcast. Check that out if you get a chance.
I might check that out when we're done here, because my wife's downstairs. It's her TV night, and I'm upstairs doing this ridiculous audio fucking shit up here, and I'm going to be forced to have to stay up here for a couple more hours. Are these long shows?
30 minutes to an hour. Normally, average of 45 minutes.
You know what? What's it called? Motley Soup?
The Motley Soup.
All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to come on here next week, and I'm going to give you a review of what I thought of Motley Soup.
Oh boy, I'm going to look forward to that.
and believe me,
it's a doozy, Chad.
well, believe me, if I didn't know you even did it, you'll know I watched it by the one listen that you got on whatever app you check it out on.
It sucks because he's never let me be a guest on it.
You don't have guests?
All right. Thank you for
joining us. I'm his own flesh and blood, and he's never let me on the Motley Soup. I've scorned my brother's honor.
Thank you for joining us on Reliving the Extreme, and we will see you next week, everybody. Have a great week.